welcome to We Talk, where we talk about any and everything as a family.
As a family. I'm Stavohn.
I'm Jaevohn.
And I'm Mom.
Make sure to like, comment down below, and subscribe. Also, if you're feeling frisky, turn on that notification bell. Now, on to the video.
Oh my god, you didn't even button all the buttons up.
I know, he's doing the belly belly thing. Trying to be all sexy this morning.
Got a wrinkled shirt. Are those wooden buttons? Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, you're not even gonna fold down your collar. You just.
He wants you to accept him as he is. Leave him be.
It's like I'm gonna put 0 effort in here.
I don't ever pull down the collar. It's weird.
It's weird to have the collar be how collars have always been since the beginning of time. Except for like maybe, I don't know, the 50s or whatever. You just like hey. Or pop collars, that's
That's been a thing.
I mean, it came back.
Okay.
I don't know.
So why are you hating?
Look, no, it came back and then died. It came back like when you were born.
It was resurrected.
And then died.
Well,
When you
who
were
do you think
born.
brought it back?
Did you bring it
He's
back?
bringing sexy back.
Okay, whatever. Didn't what was it about him? Didn't he have like some weird mark on his forehead that looked like a strawberry?
Ooh.
Jamie, you remember that?
Oh, Care Bear? It was a heart.
Oh, okay.
It was a heart.
Whatever.
Because he was full of love.
Full of love. You're full of crap.
That ain't even cool, man. That's not cool.
Yeah. Now you're so dark. You can still have that heart and we just wouldn't see it.
I'm not even that dark.
Okay.
Wow. Wow.
I'm not shaming you.
You know,
Your
that's
skin
what
color.
I'm feeling. I'm feeling that.
I'm just saying that, like,
You know.
if you were to get a tattoo, nobody would see it.
Nah, stupid ugly head.
Nah, see, that's why, I don't know. I feel like on dark-skinned people, tattoos, I just don't get the point.
Wow.
Like, I mean, and look, you can get them, and like, they're just harder to see.
Well, probably. I mean, depending
So-
on how dark you are. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I've seen people, like, I'll work with this guy who's like a darker dude, and he has tattoos, and like, if I'm looking, I can't even really tell what they are, because like, you know.
Is it because they're old or?
No, I mean, it's just,
Because
he's dark, and it's black. It's black on dark. Like, so, I mean, there's nothing wrong with
I
that.
wonder
Like,
what color on dark would look like.
I actually don't know. Does it show up well?
I don't know. I mean, I can't say that I've been with dark men with tattoos.
See, that's light skin privilege right there.
Whatever.
Better tattoos, just in general.
Okay.
I was thinking about colorism, but what were you gonna talk about? What did you?
Well, I mean, since you want to talk about colorism, you kind of.
I think brown skin girl is stupid. I think that song is stupid.
You know what?
Shut up.
Yeah,
I think that
right.
song is oh, because you're both brown skinned people?
No, it has nothing to do with that.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
know, it has nothing to do with that. I think that, you know, I love brown skin girl. Something that I can relate to. I'm sure that you are aware of the colorism that is out there amongst our
Listen,
people.
hold on. Just because you mentioned it, you have brown skin, like, so that doesn't exclude.
But no, and see, and that's what I was talking about, because Mom was like, "What do you think brown skin girl was about?" And I was like, I think it's about like all brown skinned people, like just if you have brown skin in general. She's like, "No, it's about dark skinned girls," and I'm like, "Well."
No,
I'm saying, like,
it's
if you
not
remember,
about
everybody that she mentioned in that song had dark skin. I'm like,
well, okay. Everybody that she did mention, they weren't dark skinned per se. They were browner than you. They were browner than the chick that caught herself remaking the song, which is so disrespectful.
But what I'm saying is that if you are not like white and you're black, then you're
You're
a
brown
brown
skin.
skinned person.
Not necessarily.
Like if your skin
Well,
is like
not necessarily.
darker. Okay, not necessarily.
But not even, I mean, I'm more than not. I understand what you're saying.
I mean, I get what you're saying too, but no, like, because, I don't know, just the way that you
presented it to
me
Yeah.
made it
That
seem like it was like,
my own views.
like
of
it was like a dark skin appreciation song, which is fine, but I think that's stupid.
Well, I mean, but my thing is, you know, this to me the song is it says brown skinned girls, so I guess that covers all brown skinned girls. But you know, like the girl who did the light skin song, to me that was just totally disrespectful because, as my child put it, it's like the Black Lives Matter, no, all lives matter thing. No, we're not talking about, you know, light skinned girls. We're talking about brown skinned girls. Now, if you're brown skinned and you fall under the light thing, you're included in that. But don't sit there and try to make it all about you.
With the Black Lives Matter, all lives matter thing, the people who were saying all lives matter were saying that to discount the Black Lives Matter thing, right?
Okay.
Not
So, was the light-skinned girl song made to discount the brown-skinned
Yes.
girls?
essentially it was like made out of, from what I got from it, it was made out of like, oh, they got dark skin girls. Well, we light skin girls.
See, and that's what my premise was when I presented it to you because
Oh,
I knew about
and
the
even
light
if it was a dark skin anthem, okay, y'all can sit down. I don't care. Because light skins in our society are praised since the
They
beginning
have
of time.
privilege.
So
They worked in the kitchen. They worked in the kitchen while the dark skins worked in the field. So
Literally,
they have
you know how many people are like, you know, you're a little too dark for me to date you, like team light skins for the win, like there's like real colorism. People don't like.
And I think all of that is stupid. I was joking
But you
with,
can't ignore it. It's still there.
I mean, yeah, but I was joking with Isaac. I'm like, man, I feel like I'm light-skinned, but I'm on like the cusp of being like just a little too dark. And I was like,
a little too light.
I was like, man, like, you know, back in them slave times, you know, like I might get thrown out in the fields, and I was like, yeah, I would have to like stay out of the sun, right? Just like get no sun at all, so I don't like tan or anything. So I'd just be as light as possible.
But no, they look at your hair and they be like, oh no, you out in the fields, bro.
Because of my hair.
Yeah, I'm sure that's gonna.
I mean,
That's
what,
fine.
light-skinned people
Well,
don't
if you're on
have
the cusp, that's what they're gonna be. Oh, the hair
whatever.
test.
I show them my chest. My chest is like yellow.
So you're gonna walk around in the kitchen with your chest hanging out.
Yeah. You know what it is. No. But no, in regards to colorism, I feel like the people who can, with a straight face, say like, oh, how could a white person judge me like just based off the color of my skin, or how could they think this way about me because of how I look, or whatever, and then they say like, oh, like, you know those light-skinned people, or oh, you know those dark-skinned dudes are this way, or whatever. I feel like you're retarded. I feel like you're actually stupid, and you are dumb. So.
Okay. I mean, I feel what you're saying.
Because it's all the same thing, and I feel like it's just like. I feel like all
prejudice
people.
is prejudice. Whether you're prejudiced, against a white person, or you're prejudiced against somebody within your own race because of their skin tone, it's all the same. So, you know, if you got a problem with the way the white people are looking at you, and you're black, but yet you have a problem with like the dark skinned people or the light skinned people, I mean, it's no different.
Yeah, it's like it's just, it doesn't make any sense because it's like people don't realize that like what they're accusing other people of, like, oh, this person's like judging me, they're prejudiced or whatever, like they're doing the same thing and they don't see that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, and they're like, oh, yeah. Like, I'm not, like, he's black, I'm black, like.
I'm not prejudiced.
Yeah,
No,
like.
but you are.
Like at face value, I like understand that. And like I do like agree with it. I don't like bunching of like light skins and dark skins, but also like okay, actually never mind. Okay, yeah, you're right.
Okay, but that's also, you know, I think, you know, sometimes people have a problem with people's preferences. You know, people, like, guys would be like, well, I only date light-skinned women, this, that, and the other. That's because that's what I like. Okay, my issue with that is, I don't mind you having a preference. I don't, because I have a preference. But I don't know, but I'm smart enough to know that just because I have a preference, that's not going to exclude everybody from the pool that I pull from.
I mean, I don't even think it's like an issue of being smart enough to know or whatever. I think like, and I was talking about this the other day too. I don't think there's anything wrong with a person being fat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you want to be fat, you be fat. Do you? Like so long as you're not like saying like, oh, well, I'm healthy, like I'm whatever. like do you? But I'm not attracted to like fat people, right?
Okay.
So that doesn't mean that I hate you. That doesn't mean that I have any like negative feelings about you.
And
Like you
that's
just don't attract
from
me.
a lot of people, especially when they're like, well, I don't like dark-skinned girls because they're ugly, this, that, and the third. And men always say, men say this all the time. You know, and it's like, wow, first of all, there are beautiful dark-skinned women out there. And if you don't like dark-skinned, be respectable about this situation. You don't have to date a dark-skinned person. But be respectful and keep that to yourself.
Yeah, I mean, look, and I don't know. If it is just somebody like being disrespectful, that's messed up. Like, but everybody's entitled to their own like preference.
They're entitled to their own preference. I agree.
So you know that's the same as me being like, oh yeah, I don't date fatties, I don't like whales, like, you gross lard, your legs looks like a garbage bag full of cottage cheese.
I don't know,
like,
it sounds like you practically
yeah,
said all this before.
that was off the top. Whale, that's so common. Fatty, come on, that's like, that's day one.
I don't know why you felt the need to say that.
But I'm just saying that, you know, I don't think that way about people. Like if somebody's fat, I'll be like, wow, that person's fat. And then that's like it, unless they like piss me off. And then I'm like, all right, what can I say about this person?
Okay, well.
But, you know, like if it's just like, I can't categorize like a whole group of people and just insult the whole group of people.
But some people do, and that's the part that's
I mean, look, and I don't know.
Of that nature. Yeah.
I guess I do it jokingly, but you know, I don't really mean any of it. The people who actually mean it, the people who can actually seriously judge an entire group of people without like ever having, like you can't know the entirety of the group, right? So for you to just judge like all of these people based on whatever preconceived notions you have, that doesn't make sense to me. Like whether it's like judging all white people, like oh, all white people are racist. Like oh man, like I bet that white guy over there thinks this certain thing about me because the color of my skin, because all white people are racist. Like I think that's stupid.
That is stupid. But since you kind of segued into the next topic, like the mass shootings that have been going on, the one in El Paso, the one closer to home in Dayton.
That's actually what I was going to talk about with my topic.
Well, I'm so sorry.
Of course, a black person stealing. Surprise, surprise.
But okay, I mean, you know the guy in El Paso who went into Walmart and killed all those people. And
then there's the Gilroy Garlic Festival too.
Well, you can talk about that because I don't really know too much about that.
I don't know too much. Look, it was just another mass shooting. Like a week before the other two.
But the Walmart was.
I love how we're just like,
Well, I don't know which mass shooting it was. It was just one of the ones that happened last week.
I know it's so common now. It's ridiculous.
like there's been like 284 this year alone, and there hasn't even been that many days in the year.
Look, bro.
That's what we got
Crazy out
you
here.
for.
We live in
You
a
can
war
spit the
time.
facts.
But I don't believe in those statistics entirely because it's like, what do you classify as a mass shooting?
I'm sure that mass shooting has a definition.
That's like, okay, so, and then this is why I distrust statistics like that, because there was some statistic about like, oh, there have been, so many, like 80,000 gun-related deaths or whatever in a certain year or something. I don't know. Like, it was probably more than that, but that's just an arbitrary number. But like in the statistic, they were including suicides as like a gun-related death when they're using these statistics to talk about how like we need to combat gun violence and
I
whatever.
understand what you're saying, and I agree.
So
with
it's
you
like,
in that
okay,
instance. But to me, a mass shooting, that's pretty cut and dry. There's not going to be a mass shooting, and the numbers are going to include suicide.
Still, but like,
I mean, I'm saying, like, what about gang violence? Like, if there's
it's
like,
if it's a mass shooting,
if there's
a
two
gang
groups,
member,
if there's two groups of gangsters and they're shooting at one another, is that a mass shooting? What constitutes a mass shooting?
I will not let you take over my topic just because you thought it was yours first. This is my topic.
I'm not taking it. I'm asking what, like, look, and I don't know. It's all about the statistics. Like it doesn't matter what who
But
was saying what.
my concern, I mean, like with the El Paso shooting, and he went into Walmart and shot all those people, and it turns out that he was trying to kill Mexicans, which is crazy in itself. But the crazy part about this particular shooting is that this man walked away unscathed. He walked up, he went in, he's not dead. How is that possible? How is this not possible? I mean,
more people should have been strapped. I was thinking this, I'm like, man, everybody had a gun?
I'm talking about concerning the police.
Yeah, I mean, look, but...
more people should be strapped at the supermarket.
I'm just saying, if everybody in that situation had a gun, how would it have turned out? I don't believe that everybody should have
It
a
would
gun.
have turned out like this. Excuse me, can I get those bananas? Get out the way!
No, like why? I don't understand why people think that.
I don't believe that to be the truth either. But you know what? Even if somebody was carrying, they still may or may not have gotten involved. I mean, comparing that to like when that school shooting was going on. You had an officer, security guard, or whatever standing outside the door who would not go in.
Which one?
I don't know which shooting, but
I know what you're talking about.
yeah, he wouldn't go in. He would not go in there when the shooter was in there.
It was like,
Who does that?
Hey,
He
bro.
did it. And he's trained. So what do you expect for these untrained civilians to do?
Look, I'm just saying that some people may rise to the occasion.
but like, that's not your job.
I mean, of course it's not your job, but also would you rather be in that situation, somebody shooting up the Walmart that you're in and not have a gun?
But what I'm saying is like,
I would rather have a gun.
it shouldn't be your responsibility to have a gun while you're just going to get like.
I
No,
mean,
it's not
it's your
about
responsibility to
responsibility.
protect yourself.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
Like however you feel like doing
Okay,
it.
but it's also, we give up our free will to our countries for them to protect us. So it's
We
the
don't
responsibility.
give up our free will to our country.
We give up. We're not allowed to do certain things because if you break those things, it's called a social contract. You do what? You go to jail. So we give up our entire free liberty.
We don't give
Not
our
our entire free liberty, but we give up. We give up stuff.
Like, I wouldn't say that you give up your free will by living
Not
in
like
a
your
country and
entire-
following the laws.
Not like your entire free will, but I'm saying
That,
like,
I mean,
in this particular case, you are allowed to have a concealed carry. I'm sure it was in Texas. They're all about guns. So I'm just going to assume that they have like the same concealed carry laws that we have.
Mhm.
So anybody could have been in that store carrying, as long as they went about it legally. So my thing is, just because you're carrying does not mean that A, you felt comfortable enough to shoot, or or B,
I mean, also in that situation, you don't know what's going on. You're all the way in the freaking candy aisle while they're shooting at the
that's
the
true.
garden center.
If I hear gunfire and I'm in the store, I'm not going to run toward it. Even if I am carrying it, I'm not. Now, if I hear it coming towards me, hopefully I have enough sense to pull my gun out and go for it. Because, in that scenario, you got 50-50 odds. I'm trying to have the odds a little bit more in my favor. I mean, seriously, me, if I have a gun and I see a gunman, if I can get a shot off, I'm going to take it because I know if he can get a shot off, he's going to kill me. Period. So, I have nothing to lose at that point. But some people are not going to do that for whatever reason.
Yeah, look, and it's, I imagine that it's hard to take a life. Like you buy a gun with the intent of protecting yourself, right? To preserve your life. You're not buying a gun to kill someone, right? So, you may think like, okay, I have my gun on me. If anything happens, I'll use it and protect myself. But when you're in that moment and you pull the gun out and you're holding it at another person, like you're like, oh man, I really do have to take this person's life to save mine.
I don't feel like there's much thought process.
Look, for you,
no.
But for some people that'd be like too heavy.
Well, it's not about for me. I feel like if you're in a situation where someone is going to, you feel like somebody is going to kill me. I don't even think that you actually go through the thought process of, oh, but I don't want to take a life. I think that it's self-preservation automatically. I think 99% of the time, that's going to override anything.
I don't think so, because you got to imagine, there are some people who would just literally freeze. They would be on the ground in a ball.
Well,
just
that's not 1%. In a ball.
I don't think that's 1%.
It's fight or flight. Like, people don't...
Fight, flight, or freeze.
Yeah, fight, or freeze.
Okay, I'll give you that, yeah. But if you have a gun, in my mind...
And if you can't fight or flee, then what you doing?
But my thing is, if you had the wherewithal to be carrying a gun, in your mind, you actually thought that you were going to use that if you needed to use it.
Look, you think like, I'm going to get this to protect myself. You never want to have to use it, though.
That's true.
So you never want to be in that situation.
But you never thought you would be in the middle of Walmart grocery shopping and people gunning somebody down.
And some people wouldn't know how to deal with it, man. I'm telling you.
I would be one of those people. I would not know how to deal with it. I already know that.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm just leaving.
But that's not like you and your personality.
What,
What's
to
not like
charge at an armed person who's just killing people at random?
But you have a gun.
If I have a gun,
Yeah.
I'm out. What do you think
You're
I got
still
the gun for?
leaving.
I got the gun to live. Like, I'm not.
What happened to your hero mentality? You like
What hero
out.
mentality?
Stavohn has always had a hero. He wanted to be
For
a hero.
himself, he said,
No.
if it's not an inconvenience, in
Right.
this case, that's a little too risky. I'ma just go to the exit.
I don't know. If it's a pistol against an AR,
Oh,
Like,
no,
if it's
that's
like-
not even that.
I don't know what the El Paso guy had. Like, what?
I think it was one of those type of weapons that
Assault
AR.
rifle?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It sounded like an assault thing.
Yeah. So like, if I have something that's concealed,
Yeah,
like-
that clearly you don't.
so you want me to like rush in? This dude's already killing people. You want me to rush in
but
over to where he is, outgunned?
Depending on your level, your ability.
Look, no, and not to mention, people call the cops or whatever. Like some people made it out, they called the cops. Oh my God, somebody's in the Walmart shooting. I go up, I
Yeah.
shoot the guy, I put him down.
Then the cops
The
will
police
put you
see
down.
me,
Yeah.
they're like, get on the ground, stop resisting, do. And then like boom, like I'm dead. So
Yeah,
nah,
yeah.
I'm good on that.
Yeah, absolutely right. But, you know, my whole point was I don't understand how he got to walk away from this. But clearly, I'm sure that we all can agree, at least I know two of us will agree anyway, that if he was a black man, he would not have walked out of there. He wouldn't have walked away. Period.
Wait, what happened if the cops like see him and just not like do anything?
Right. I mean, they seen him and
Did he?
just went on and said, here I am.
He gave up? He didn't commit suicide by cop? That's crazy.
No, he did not.
Normally in that kind of situation they do. They commit suicide by cop.
No, because he was a real coward. He wasn't really trying to die. He just wants, to kill people.
Well, I don't know.
Who just
Maybe
goes
he'll get the
and
death sentence.
shoots up a Walmart, like, for funsies.
To kill Mexicans, go to Home Depot.
What?
are you doing?
Dude, that was... You were... Oh,
Oh, wait, it was like to kill.
Mexicans, yes.
So I was talking to somebody about like what could be done because it was crazy when I woke up and I'm just laying in bed and I'm like reading through the news on my phone and like I'm like, oh man, there's a shooting here and then there's a shooting there and then there was that shooting last week. I'm like, what can be done to change this? And I don't think, well, look, and let me not say this. I don't think that like restricting guns or whatever, I don't think that that's the main issue here.
What do you think the main issue is?
I think the main issue is mental health.
Oh my gosh.
No.
I just disagree because
I'm going to let him handle this.
every country in the world has mental illness.
Absolutely.
But not every country in the world has this many mass shootings.
Absolutely.
And then also like I don't know. There are like I just don't agree with that.
Wasn't it said something about the video games? Wasn't
Oh yeah, Walmart is like banning displays of violent video games.
No.
Oh yeah, I
And-
remember seeing that.
Okay, so what prompted that? Because it was my understanding
To stop
that...
shootings, like to stop violence. Like,
Okay, so you telling me like in other countries they don't have video games with the same amount of violence? This is just asinine. Okay, to me, I feel like this. First of all, there's always going to be shootings. There just are. It's just the way of the world.
Yeah.
But my thing is, why do these people have assault rifles? Why do these people have these guns that only the military should have? Period.
Should have? I do not agree. I don't think that the military should have guns that we like can't have.
Why?
because if the
military's
military
not
were to
gonna
rise
put-
up against us.
Okay, look, I'm saying if something goes sideways and it's like
Like
the
the whole
government
military
now
is
becomes like
Baby,
oppressive.
if the military becomes we're not making it out. Like that's just the point.
You're not making it out because you don't want an assault
We
rifle.
get nuked, period. So what's the point? You think they're gonna, if we're all resisting, they're gonna come in with some AR-15? Like, no, they're coming in with bombs. Like they don't care. Like for them, we are just like space. Like they're not gonna take the time to like individually come down here and see who's revolting. They'll be like, oh, the South Side doesn't agree.
I don't think that, but I'm just saying that if I'm going to protect myself, I'm not just protecting myself from criminals. I'm protecting myself from any possible threat, right?
Okay, yeah, I understand.
Like, and I feel like the military or whoever could be a threat, and I feel like if I have a pistol and then somebody rolls up with an AR, like I'm at a disadvantage, right? So I would want the best thing that I could get.
But that's why nobody should have an AR except for the military. And I know,
No.
I know what you just said.
No.
But another thing, you're talking about mental health. It was so funny because when I was watching this all play out on TV, and they had like some lady on there. She was talking, and she was some kind of mental health person. She was like, "Oh no, this is not mental health. This is just evil." And there are people who are just evil. There are people who just buy into that rhetoric of, all the Mexicans are causing us a problem and we need to develop. And this is crazy.
That was like a race-based attack.
Yes,
That
I
wasn't mental health. That wasn't like.
I'm not saying that this dude was was crazy, but there was something wrong with him mentally.
Why was there something wrong with him? So you feel like racism is a mental issue?
No, I feel like for you to go into a public place and kill people, like a lot of people, there has to be something wrong with you mentally.
People, this is the thing I've been trying to get across this whole time, and we keep coming back to it. Some people are just evil. It has nothing to do with, they're just evil. I don't understand why you can't accept the fact that some people are just evil.
I mean, look,
there is some mental
I feel like that's so rare, though, for somebody to be just literally pure evil.
There is a TV show called Evil Lives Here. I watch it faithfully. So if they have enough people in there to put for a TV show, evil exists.
I don't know. I mean, there are people who do evil things, but it's whatever. It's tomato.
But my
honestly.
thing is, they never mention mental illness when like someone who is not white is the shooter.
I mean, and look, I think that's a problem too.
If like someone has a little bit of the tan, they're like, oh, terrorist. Like,
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people who live in the ghetto and all of this are dealing with a lot of mental issues like PTSD, and they all have
yes, I agree.
like some things that's really wrong with them that they won't ever deal with because we just don't ever talk about mental health.
And you said some of the people that live in the ghetto. So
I mean,
when I think of the people, when you say that, in my mind, the first thing I think of is tan people, brown people.
I mean,
things of that nature.
that's what I'm saying.
I seen like one of those little, I'm gonna call it a meme thing or whatever, where they had like photos of 6 people who have completed, done all these mass shootings. Now one of these people was brown. They was all white people.
I mean, look, and that's the thing as well. Like, it is what it is.
Also, my thing about the mental health issue thing, it's like, it's a mental health issue. It's a mental health issue, let's have some mental health reform. Let's bring mental health reform to poor areas so we don't have these people with these pent up issues. It's not, let's help get people out of the ghetto so that they're not struggling to make ends meet and they have these mental issues now. It's a mental health issue that only applies to white people. Let's help the white people not be mentally ill.
How do you suggest? Let's run with your mental.
And I've actually thought about this, and I wanted to talk about this, but everybody keeps talking.
Well, that's what
we do. We talk.
So I was thinking that it needs to start in school. Like it needs to. I don't know if it would be like a class or whatever, where you're taught like. You're taught how to better deal with your thoughts and your emotions and how to better control what's going on in your mind, so like you can better process things. Because when I think of like a mass shooting, I usually do think of like people who are like I don't think about people who are like racist and like, oh, I just hate Mexicans and just pure evil. I'm thinking about people who are mentally damaged who could have been helped. Like earlier in their life.
The Dayton boy, I think he had some mental issues.
Like what?
I just get that impression that he had some.
What's the percentage of these shooters that are on like some sort of medication for
like being bullied and things
on like
of that nature.
psych meds? Like, the percentage is very high. So these people are already like mentally unwell. So I feel like if we in school, like from a young age and then all the way up through adulthood, if we were more considerate of everyone's mental state and we taught kids how to better handle their emotions and even like meditation, like having meditation in school, right? I feel like that would actually help a lot with
But what about the people who are like already out of school now? Like, where should we
look, we start with the new generation and then just wait until they grow up and then the old generation dies off.
Okay, but let me ask you this.
The whole generation gets shot up. What you mean?
I mean, so what's the difference between us, our country, and all the other countries that don't have all these mass shootings? What is the difference? I mean,
I don't know.
It's not like
We're
our
better.
country is significantly more mentally ill than other countries.
I agree.
It's that the other countries have kind of control.
I mean, but you know, like I know that I actually don't know the country, but there was some country where you know, like oh, guns are banned or whatever, but there's just like a lot of stabbings now.
Stabbings aren't equivalent to shootings. Like,
I mean, but like you're not stopping homicides, you're not stopping like
no, murder
violence.
is going to continue, but it's about how someone can kill the most amount of people in the littlest amount of time. That's what it's about. When we have to do drills in school over like when we have to do active shooter drills in school, it's told to us that like the person is trying to come in and get as many people as possible in the shortest amount of time. So like even with a knife, you're not going to get as many people as you are with an AR-15.
I had heard a
even
story
with
about
like
a guy
a
who
pistol.
stabbed 30 people. He went on a mass stabbing spree and stabbed 30 people. That's a lot of people with a knife. That's just like, that has no relevance to what you were saying. But they got a lot of people with a knife.
But-
I was
But
impressed.
that's probably very odd. I mean, rare.
I mean, look, and that is rare. And I was saying like that dude has to have tremendous cardio.
Like what you said, an AR-15 is no match for a pistol. Like, it's not about like, oh, we need to take all the guns off the streets. It's about, oh, we need to make these guns harder to get, and we really need to like think about what.
And I feel like that there
the
should be
importance
an
of
aspect
guns
of that in dealing with this, but I don't think that that's the main issue. It's like, oh, guns are just so easy to get, and that's why like everybody is being killed in these mass
You
shootings.
can buy guns at Walmart. I could go to Walmart and purchase a gun.
You couldn't?
I could go to a gun auction and purchase a gun.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know the laws here, but
Well,
but no, I think that I really do think that it starts with dealing with mental health, and then just being more aware of it. And with people who are out of school, like we need to make it more acceptable in society to just talk about the things that are messing with us, man. Like people, they have so much repressed crap that they just like smash down and like
But we're
until it gets to the point where it erupts and then you don't know what to do, or we take pills to deal with these feelings that like we should be just talking out or like thinking through or whatever. Like I feel like
yeah,
pills.
but there's. I mean, I'm already like I agree with what you're saying, and there's already been like a shift with like the stigma around therapy and like younger generations. Like, I saw this thing and I thought it was pretty
You should speak up.
like in older generations, it was more like, oh, like you're going to therapy.
yeah, I know you.
And
did
now,
talk
like,
about it. No, it's
Kids are like, oh my, we get it. Like, I just came from therapy. It was like,
I mean, it's an old school mentality of like, oh, you can't just deal with your problems yourself.
right.
and
Yeah.
you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
I mean, but, you know, and somebody who talks about mental health a lot, and I really respect this person for it, Charlemagne the God. Because he talks about his
Going to
dealings
therapy.
with mental
Mhm.
health and him going to therapy and how beneficial
Yeah,
it was
Joe-
for him and
Joe
how
Budden
everybody should
talks
do
about
it.
it too. I mean,
But
Yeah.
also, therapy is just so like hard to access for some.
yeah,
like-
it can be.
If you like fall and scrape your arm, like can find a doctor that has your insurance most times. But finding a mental health doctor that has your insurance, first you like the list is small, and then not only is that list small, but because everyone can only go to like 3, their waiting lists are like up the wazoo. So we need more access to these we need more access to therapy. We need access to therapy for people who can't afford it necessarily. Like, if it's a mental health issue, then we need to like actually work on getting mental health like resolvement for all of these people and not just people who can pay for therapy or stuff like that.
I feel like going on with what you said, how you could easily find a doctor, but it's not that easy to find like a therapist. I feel like your mental health is just as important as your physical health.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
society should see it that way.
Yeah. I agree.
And there, like, you know how there are things that you do to strengthen your body. Like there, you know, like, oh, if you get hurt, then you can do whatever to repair your body.
Mm-hmm.
It should be more readily available and more accepted for us to be doing those things for our minds.
Yeah,
Like if we get hurt, like mentally, like if we have trauma or something, it's not just like, oh, get over it. Or like, oh, you know, you just need some time.
that's what I don't like, and I know this is probably gonna sound stupid, but like relationship in high school, like they can be traumatic for some people, and I just feel like our society just is like, you'll get over it.
No, people. I mean, I don't feel that way. I mean,
when you think about it though,
I do, because like kids are like, oh, we broke up, and then adults are like,
no, I
okay, and
agree
that's not an
with you.
excuse, like do what you need to do.
I mean, I agree with what you're saying, but you still need to do what you need to do.
Okay, but listen,
it is traumatic. I'm not discounting that. But the way that the world is, just because we have a little trauma, the world is not expecting for you to stop.
Physical health is so prioritized over mental health. Like if you were to call into work and be like, hey, I can't come in, like I'm like my head hurts, they'd be like, okay. If you were to call into work and be like, hey, I can't come in, I'm feeling like extremely anxious right now, like I can't get out of bed, they'd be like, I'll see you in 10 minutes, like.
I mean, but you know that if it was acceptable for people to be like, oh, you know, I'm just feeling kind of anxious today, like there would be people who take advantage of it.
And there's people who take advantage of physically.
I mean, and that's what I'm saying. Like, so, you know, it is what it is.
If you take advantage of it, you don't get paid. It's like that. If you don't want a job, then that's fine.
I get paid. I got sick days, bro.
We need to close this out.
I guess. There was something else that I wanted to say. I forgot it though, because we just. Oh no! It's so weird. Because this goes on what I think you were saying about how people discount the traumatic relationships that young people are in.
Mm-hmm.
The most deeply affecting trauma, the trauma that could like really just cling with you until death is what happens when you're a child.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
Like what happens when you're not like mentally there enough to deal with the situation properly, and so now you have all these like scars that are just like embedded in your psyche permanently, and now you're just screwed up for the rest of your life. And it's weird when people don't understand that, like, okay, you're in a traumatic relationship. I don't even know. Like, whatever. Sure, the relationship didn't seem serious to an adult.
Yeah.
But to that person, to the two people that were in it, it was serious. Regardless of like how serious it really was. If they believed that it was serious, then it was serious.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, you know, it could be like, oh, I got to hold her hand. We've been holding hands. We're boyfriend and girlfriend now. We're doing boyfriend and girlfriend things. You know? Like an older person's like, that's so stupid. That's whatever. But that's serious to them.
Yeah.
So it would be traumatic. Just as traumatic as like, you know, like, oh, like I ended up breaking up with my fiance, yeah, whatever.
Because it's the perception around that. But society's perception of the holding hands thing is like, that's stupid. I mean, so everyone's like, that's stupid.
Because trauma is a very personal thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like you, okay, say you have two kids, like both young children. They could be in the same situation where like they're being chased by a dog. Like not even a dog with the intent of like attacking them. Just like the dog is like, the dog sees them running, the dog starts running after them. Like one kid scarred for life.
Yeah.
Like, I now hate dogs. Like, I don't want to even be near a puppy. Like, get it away from me. The other kid is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's just all how that person deals with it. So it's all very personal. But that's it. That's the end of that.
Oh, one last thing I want to say is that, like, also mental health presents itself in, like, different ways. Like, it's not always like, oh, I'm having, like, mental health issues. Like, you can have, like, the biggest smile on your face and then,
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
be at home and, like, be, like, sad.
I'm a sad boy.
Also, like, a lot of people don't recognize that, like, people sometimes can't get out of bed because of how bad their mental health is. And, like, people who are going through depressive episodes are often given, like, a lot of, like, flack for, like, having a messy room or, like,
Are you
being
trying to
very
tell me
original.
something?
Ah,
I'm curious.
No, my room is messy by choice.
What
But they're, like, for having a messy room or not being able to keep up with themselves. But, like, they physically can't because of their mental issues.
I've been there. I mean, it's very difficult. And, you know, people who have not experienced it don't understand. So, yeah, I agree.
And mental health issues can cause physical symptoms. That's the last thing I'm going to say.
Why y'all looking at me?
Alright, thanks for tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Try having a conversation with your family. See if you can get on the same page.
If not the same page, at least the same chapter.
If not the same chapter. Stay strapped. Don't ever give up your guns, because what if the military comes
Oh my God.
and they're trying to take your kids away? Yo, what if ICE shows up at your door?
You go
Like,
shoot at ICE?
Yes!
You did.
If ICE is coming, like, oh, we're taking your daughter, your wife, your whatever. No, you're not.
Okay, but my thing is, dude, you're not going to be with them. One way or the other, you're not going to be
Yo,
with
whatever.
them. If they kill you,
I'm gonna be with them in hell. I'm killing the ICE officers, then I'm killing all of us.